This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission to
All right, welcome back. Part 2 of The Matrix. 1999 film, The Wachowski twins. This movie, if you didn't listen to part 1, we all loved it. Yep. It's just full of praise. Yep. It's always kind of nice when none of us are mad or yelling at each other.
It's just a good old movie.
Just a happy time.
This is what we want America to be like.
That's right. Happy and watching The Matrix.
Just happiness and hope.
Right.
Hopeful and enjoyment.
And I want the concrete ground to be made out of the same stuff it is in the Roger Rabbit's Toon World or whatever, you know? You get one free bounce before you smack into
That's
it.
fair.
You can just bounce back up. It's fine.
Yeah, just right back up to the top of the building. Yeah. So we're going to get into trivia now, and we're going to probably go back and just, keep throwing praise on this movie. So this movie, it has a wealth of special features. It has 4 commentary tracks, one of which was with Carrie-Anne Moss, the special effects guy, and the editor. One was with the composer, one was with 2 critics, and one was with 2 philosophers.
Wow.
Oh, nice. Fun.
Pretty weird.
Maybe.
If I were to recommend listening to one, I would say it's a tie between the Carrie-Anne Moss one with the 2 other people, because they worked on it. They were in the movie. Right. There was some pretty good insight on the intent, the way they formed it, and like what it was like on set. And then, like I said in the first part, the composer one is pretty cool because they don't play the movie soundtrack as the audio track as the movie is. It's just the soundtrack. Mm-hmm. And then the guy basically lets you listen to the soundtrack, and then once like a scene with a lot of score in it is done, he talks about what his intents were. Basically,
That's really
so like
cool.
The first, I didn't think he was going to talk when I turned it on, because the first 7 minutes there's a lot of score, and it's just the score. And then after it's done, he's like, that was 7 minutes of score there, and like started talking about it. I'm like, oh, guy's here, cool. It's actually going to be like a kind of a commentary track,
not like just telling you what happened either,
right? But it's cool because then after the first one, because the movie kicks off and there's score immediately, so he didn't want to talk over it. But then he talked before the score parts. Like there are parts that are heavily scored in this movie, and there are parts that are not. So like he would talk about like, okay, this upcoming one is going to be like this.
Very like
this.
Polite, well-constructed commentary there.
Yeah, and it was extremely unique, specifically because of the fact that they changed the audio track in the movie for the commentary track. And I got to say, there's so much going on in this movie, you don't appreciate all the individual parts as they're happening for the most part. Like the score is outstanding. And most of the time I felt like I was hearing it for the first time, just because it's not what you're focusing on for the,
right. It's
blended
so well, right? That's like another, like the parts add up so freaking well. You don't necessarily see all the things that, or like, it doesn't stick out. It's not like, here's the score, there's some violins in your face.
Look at his leg. It's still up in the air. Don't you love this? This is the best. That's a steel-toed boot, too. That thing's fucking heavy.
That thing's fucking heavy. That's right.
So wait, the philosophers were not great?
No, it was kind of funny. So the philosophers were, you'll recognize one of them. It was...
Or you'll recognize.
No, you will. It's Cornel West.
Yeah.
Really?
He's not...
Why
he's not been great lately
there?
either. He's gotten weird.
He's not.
Yeah. And Ken Wilber is the other guy. They just watched the movie. It was kind of funny. I didn't listen to the whole one because they were just like, oh yeah, look at this.
They're just like watching it as like fans.
Yeah. It's like watching it with friends.
They're like, I love this part.
That's fine.
Yeah, she kicked his ass.
What do you think about that part? That's a good one, huh?
They had like nothing to say. They kind of talked about philosophy a bit when it came up in the movie, but nothing really
better
than what the movie presents.
Interestingly, so no commentary with the Wachowskis themselves, huh?
Nope.
Yeah. They're not too keen on interviews, it seems, or talking about the stuff.
I guess. And like I don't think I knew what they looked like. They look like giant nerds. They kind of look like not in a bad way, but like in a good way. They look like Kevin Smith almost kind of thing. They don't look like typical Hollywood directors. They dress similar. They had like backwards baseball hats on. They kind of wear like black t-shirts with plaid shirts unbuttoned over them. They have like piercings. They're kind of like hunched over, kind of a little overweight. They're just like kind of nerdy looking nerds, really. And I don't mean this negatively at all. They're just like, this is what they look like. It's kind of surprising because it's not how I imagine them. What with their...
that's behind the camera.
But it is kind of funny because like this is their... I imagine some of this is their I mean, it is their fantasy, but like they think that black leather trench coats are cool.
Well, yeah,
and
right.
And on them, it wouldn't be cool. But you get Keanu Reeves and friggin' Lawrence Fishburne and Carrie-Anne Moss to throw them on. Fuck yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I would listen to those too. Also, the behind the scenes documentaries they have on this are totally worth watching too. They filmed throughout the production. So like you can see every single special effect in the movie and how they did it. And that just like adds another level to this movie that I, you wouldn't think you'd be able to like it more, but like the amount of effort that went into all this shit, the fact that what you think you're looking at when you're watching the movie is a special effect that's like computer generated or like manipulated or something isn't. Like a lot of it is real. Like almost all the action is real. The actors perform the stunts for the most part. There's like a few exceptions, but like when you see their faces, that's them. That's, for some, like, I don't know, these days, I'm like, yeah, they probably didn't do that.
Who knows? Like,
back then you couldn't really do that, right? Like, so they wanted to, they actually had this like legendary kung fu choreographer that did a lot of wire work from Hong Kong come to be the choreographer for this movie. And what he said was like, these guys are not good. They're like, usually what you do is you get stunt guys to be actors. So at least the kung fu will be good. The acting might not be good, but the kung fu will be good. Right. You have actors here, and he worked with them for a bit, and he's like, they can't do it. They're not convincing. Like, this is not going to work. So his estimates went from 2 months with them to 4 months of training beforehand, just before they even started filming, to do all the choreography for this stuff. And what ended up happening is Keanu Reeves, he had... I'll pull up exactly what injury it is, but basically 2 of his discs fused in his neck, and it was causing him to become paralyzed at the legs.
Oh my God.
He needed to get surgery to fix it. And he did right before the filming of this movie. And when they were training for the...
this happened as part of the filming, or was
no,
it some
this
other
was
accident?
an injury he had before they started doing anything with this movie.
Okay.
But he had the surgery right before...
It was like a motorcycle accident or something. I don't know.
They didn't say.
Okay.
It's probably from Point Break. It's probably some surfing shit. I don't know.
Maybe.
My friend's a surfer and he just had neck surgery too. Surfing is fucking bad for your neck.
Oh man.
Because I mean, have you ever surfed before? You're laying flat on the board and your neck's just bent all the way back. It's super uncomfortable.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
it's
I never thought about that.
Also a snowboarder, so probably some like impact damage as well, I would imagine. Good times.
Good times.
So he had that going on, and he couldn't kick. They had a lot more kicking for Keanu in the movie.
Kicking for Keanu. Sounds like a support group
for nearly paralyzed people. What was I? Where were we at? The kicking, the neck thing.
The kung fu guy was saying they're not ready, but then also
kung fu
Keanu
guy's
had
not
the
ready.
Injury.
Yeah, so he was. They kind of the kung fu guy got to know their strengths, and he basically said that like Carrie-Anne Moss was like light and quick, so like all of her movements that he gave her were like light and quick, so she could like excel at her particular talents.
Nice.
Lawrence Fishburne was bouncy. He was like strong and bouncy, so he was like musical almost in the way that he moved. So they gave him like a lot of like rhythm based bouncing stuff because he looked good doing that. Mr. Smith was robotic naturally. They're like, he's strong and he's focused. So like, this is going to be perfect. We're going to make him fight like a robot because he can do it.
Right.
And Keanu was just all around great, minus the limiting factor of his neck. He was the most determined out of everyone. So they kind of like just gave him a bunch of stuff to do. He's like the most
Keanu's so cool.
person. Keanu is the man.
He is.
Yeah. And they were planning on doing a lot of the kung fu stuff towards the beginning of the movie. But since the neck thing, they had to push it all towards the end. So the end of the shoot was like pretty high stakes because none of these guys are kung fu people and they have a lot of kung fu to do. Tons of wire work. Wire work is tough. Apparently you're like strapped into a harness around your crotch and you have to balance yourself. It's not like super centric.
And then you've got like one or two other people that are there to yank you up in the air. They're yanking you.
Yeah, it's not a machine. It's not like a bouncy thing. Right. It's people on the other end of a pulley, like synchronizing and pulling a rope so you fly. Like, so they have to pull the right distance at the right time for the right period of time, right? It's hard on their part too, and you have to sync up with them.
It's crazy.
And yeah, all that stuff of them flying around, all wire work. None of it's like, I don't know how else you do it, but
CG these days, right? But no,
yeah, but not CG. It doesn't look this good, right? The reason this looks good is because
they're actually flying through the air.
They're like, they're actually going and they're actually pushing off and jumping.
And they actually had the Carrie-Anne Moss stunt double was doing the whole, like most of the stunts for the first scene of her, like running across the rooftops, jumping through the window, all that stuff. And they were looking at it being like, this doesn't look like her movements. Like this isn't going to fit. So they got her to do it, Carrie-Anne Moss to do it. And she like looking at what the stunt double was doing versus her. And you could see the shot of her like jumping with the camera above her head and her legs like moving as she's doing the large leap. Like it's better with her doing it. It's crazy. Like they saw an issue and they fixed it by throwing her in there.
Again,
like they're
on set. Taking a lot of time. Like
tough shit.
It's not, again, I don't know. Again, they don't, it's the Wachowskis or just everybody in the film, but everybody seemed to really want this to be good. Like they really wanted to.
People were blown away by the scripts.
They just really wanted to like make this good. It seems like there was like a concerted effort by everybody to be like, okay, well, they're not ready for kung fu, so what do we do about it? We're not just going to like hire doubles or cut out the kung fu. We're going to like tailor this then. Mm-hmm. Like that's like, I don't know. It seems pretty cool that there was this idea that they were going to do this as well as they could do it. Like, I don't know. That sounds.
And the guy from Hong Kong didn't speak English, so there was translators there all the time. He was very harsh in a good way, being like, they're not ready.
You suck.
This is going to suck.
No, this is terrible. You don't kick. You kick like chicken.
You realize you're terrible at this, right? Listen
and
to
what
me.
They said was like once they got onto set, they practiced for 8 months. They practiced. Even like when they knew it was delayed, Keanu and Fishburne would practice their kung fu scene, which was the most choreographed scene in the movie. They practiced it like as much as they could on their off time while filming the rest of the movie over 8 months.
The dedication, everybody, like it's not, I guess not surprising when you look at the product, but
it is surprising.
Yes, yeah.
They were working for. I mean, they're getting paid a lot of money in this movie. Sure. They knew it was going to be awesome.
They're off the clock. Also,
yeah. This movie got a larger budget when they filmed the first scene with Trinity, like that. Since they kind of front loaded all the stuff that was not kung fu related, they filmed that Trinity scene pretty early on in production, and they asked the studio
scene,
the very first one. The one where she's like gets caught by the cops, runs away from the cops,
she's running off, which again is awesome.
Really good scene. They filmed it, edited it, sent it to the studio, and said, "We need $20 million more." And the studio was like, "Yep, fuck yep, have the money.
This is good.
This is
what
you're
good. This is what we're starting with. All right,
yeah.
Again,
all right. So here you go. Right,
Carrie-Anne Moss is for
she's perfectly cast in this role.
Exactly,
perfect.
She's just so
she did great
good at that. And again, I know she wasn't given a lot to do as far as her character, other than to be in love with Neo or concerned about Neo. But she still pulls it off.
She kicks a lot of
well.
ass. She does kick a lot of ass.
She does, yeah.
She does, and she saves him a lot.
She brings a presence that's amazing. I think as well. Like she just has a great presence about her that it's hard to imagine any other actor that would have pulled it off like that. Yeah, it's
not just what she does, but the way it fits with like the weird movements in this movie, because it is pretty weird and unnatural the way everyone's acting.
Yep,
but it works.
Yeah,
and she does the same thing where it's just like,
I mean, she has such a fine line between like that, like stoic, stern face,
right, like also like
they're like a millimeter apart.
She's
sometimes
like she's like cool, but she really
awesome.
cares, and she's very human. It's just
right. Like she has a sense of humor, but you don't know it until you make her actually kind of smirk, and that's a very small amount of facial expression from her. And
I wonder how did they do? Do you have much on the casting?
You know?
Yeah, so she was cast
go after these people.
So there was a very open casting call. What's her name? Sandra Bullock was the one that the studio wanted the most, but she didn't take it.
I could see.
But what they for Carrie-Anne Moss's character, they did wire work as the tryouts, and they did the wall run as the tryouts, and nobody knew how to do it. and she did it the best. So basically they had like all these people trying out, doing all this like stunt work, basically, not even like acting work, but stunt work. And they were going through the footage, and she was the obvious winner. Like nobody else came close to the physicality. So they're like, we need her. She's the only choice. This is an easy choice.
What did she have a background or something, like where she did gymnastics or something? And maybe, I don't know.
No,
just like,
not that she mentioned. No, she had done a bunch of like TV work. When she watched the first cut of this movie in the theater, it was the first time she had seen herself in a movie. And she said she sat there with her hand, like every time she was on screen, she would cover her eyes and just feel crushing anxiety.
Oh my goodness.
She hated it.
She looks so badass and cool in it.
She does, but she was embarrassed by it. I mean, I can't imagine what goes through what you're seeing yourself in this role. I can't imagine what people think. Like Lawrence Fishburne, complete opposite. He forgot how much, like, since they back ended it with all the kung fu, he forgot how like heady it was as an overall plot. And when he watched himself as Morpheus, he was like, this dude scares the shit out of me in a good way. It's just weird how people like, I can't imagine how that would be.
So how was it? So with Carrie Ann, they did it because was that the same with the other actors, that it was more about the physicality that they were looking for, or was that in particular for her character, where they did the wire work
specifically
for
her character?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense because she doesn't have a lot to do other than her action. Like that's like really important. Like if she did that badly, her character would suck. Like,
yeah, I guess you're right. There's not much to her otherwise.
Yeah.
I mean, she has a lot of expression.
She's pretty.
And
she's got a cool hairdo.
Oh, she's beautiful. And again, I don't know if is she younger or older than Keanu in this film? Because I think she might actually be at least his age.
Keanu was 175 years old, John.
I know he's Buddha.
He is a vampire. He will never die.
Right. I'm just interested. Like, I think that
56 years old for Carrie Ann Moss.
That seems about right.
59. He's 3 years older.
But there's a nearness
Carrie
of
Moss
age, which
is good, by the way.
There's
a nearness
of age that's a little unusual. Like again, as far as Hollywood goes,
I mean, Keanu looks great too. I don't know, man. Freaking Lawrence Fishburne looks pretty good.
Yeah, they don't. Hey, man, that's what they say all the time, right? Like you're not ugly, you're just poor. You know.
Anyway,
Danny DeVito would disagree.
To make themselves look great.
I don't know, Hollywood action female role looking person. I don't know. She's so. There's a difference about her that I don't know how to describe.
She's not soft looking.
There you go. Okay.
Because like usually women in Hollywood movies are like, oh, it's a woman. You can like, grab them by their shoulders and really plant one on their face, and they have no say about it. It's great.
Slap them across. Yeah, you
slap them around, throw them onto a bed.
Yeah,
she's very.
Sorry, that's a reference to all the older movies we've been watching. So anyway, but yeah.
No, they still have that in Hollywood. Like they still do.
I know. It's
still a thing.
Get hold of yourself. Whatever.
You take your one outside if you want to smack her. Love that. It's one of the best friggin' lines.
We don't do that here. You want to go beat your woman, you go beat her.
You go outside and you beat her.
We're a classy
We're okay
joint.
with that.
You go somewhere else.
What movie was that? Shit.
It's a Hitchcock, maybe. Was it Strangers in a Train?
Maybe it was Strangers in the Train.
Or a Dial M for Murder, like one of those off Hitchcock ones.
Hey, we're a classy restaurant. You want to beat your wife, you go beat her at home.
Yeah. It's hilarious. But very not okay. We're not joking about it.
Not okay.
It's very not okay.
Right. Whoa. Easy.
Yeah, right. But hilarious.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't have more than a few hundred listeners, because otherwise it might catch on and we might get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I know,
right? No, but I think you're right that there's just a it's just not typical, and it works so great. It just doesn't seem like she's like the wilting or romantic female or the sweet one or whatever. She's like a hard ass, and she does it really well. It's just I don't know.
And it kind of seems like she's posturing a little bit too, and she's a little soft because she loves Neo for some reason. That works too.
Told her.
Just like because I believe it when
she carries it off. She
soft.
shows her emotions with her eyes, or just subtly, very subtly, but it seems very.
And as much as I don't like the plot of her falling in love with him, her acting during that scene where she's whispering to him, it's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, exactly. It carries off. It carries off really well. Mm-hmm. She's like really really good at it. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and
I told you we just go on tangents and just praise the movie. That's not trivia related.
Keanu does unconsciousness really well. He's laying there, not doing anything. He does it really well.
I like it when he took his shirt off and the worm crawled into his belly. He didn't say a word during that part. When his mouth was covered, John, that was friggin' top tier Keanu. Couldn't say shit because he had skin over his mouth.
It was perfect. Perfect Keanu because you got the expressions without the verbiage.
And you got the shirt off. You're going to want the shirt off.
It's all good there. Yeah. You can't go wrong.
That special effect was all CG of that thing wiggling into his belly button. That's some top-notch CG.
It holds up well.
I mean, I could tell, but Jesus Christ, I don't know. Like
when it was crawling, it was CG, but when it was flapping its tail towards the end, it looked pretty real. Like it could have been like an animatronic or something.
Yeah, I liked how it transitioned between like this metal transistor-ish looking thing and bug. Mm-hmm. So it kind of like would go back and forth between that. Like it starts out metal stuff, and then
it's coming in. It's slippery.
And the
it's
thing is,
definitely
like,
going in
the
the belly
special effect of them throwing it out the car, and it zooms in on a $2 piece of metal with a 50-cent light going out, and that's what's on the screen, and it looks fucking great.
It
makes
great.
sense.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's like this is just a little device at the end of the day, but it just sort of like has again this idea of the reality versus sort of what even it's almost like this little transistor bug. It aspires to be this crazy looking bug thing when it's really just like this uncool bit of metal, sort of like, I don't know. It's neat. Yeah. It's just a small thing there, but even that's like done really well.
Yeah. Agreed. All right. Going back to trivia stuff here. Let's see. So for that first scene, Trinity's first action scene, they trained for 6 months with her on that, with the wire stuff. The running across the wall is apparently very difficult to do. That shot of her doing it was actually her running across the wall.
She's got like a harness or wire or whatever, but
with the wire,
right? But she still has to.
Oh wow!
Like the wire's probably not necessarily holding her as much. She's actually doing that on momentum, I would guess.
She is, yeah. It's just wire. Like it's only holding her up. She's not being pushed against the wall,
right?
So like it is actually difficult to do. Yeah.
Right. Because it's not really,
right. Nothing's pushing you against the wall to like change gravity. Gravity's still pulling you down only. So,
yeah. Wire foo or not, you're getting.
Can't change gravity. This movie isn't even that good. Can't change gravity.
Yeah.
And that first, so it was 6 months of training, 4 days of shooting. So that's how much, it's a pretty huge ratio of practice before rolling.
Yeah, that is.
During that scene, the rooftops and a lot of the sets were taken from Dark City, that movie. They reused the sets. They had them for some reason. You guys ever seen that one?
I'll be damned. No, I heard that. I've seen Dark City. Yeah, it's great. It's a really good like
very weird
film.
Yeah, very similar to The Matrix. Mind-bending,
it is not an action film. But it's not an action film, right?
No, so but it's got weird, like, slimy goth aesthetic to it. Kind of.
No. It's really it had a lot of. But I didn't know that they actually reused the sets there. That's cool.
Yeah, there's a scene in the Dark City where the protagonist is running across a rooftop, and it's the exact same rooftop that Trinity runs across.
Nice.
No differences. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It was scheduled for 90 days, and they shot for 118 days. The studio just were like, "Do what you got to do, man.
Like we saw
we're gonna make a ton of money with this.
We think we're going to make a lot of money."
Yeah.
Right.
They were right. The producer guy they had there was like the most stereotypical producer I've ever seen. He wore like a white jumpsuit. He was kind of fat. He was balding. He had a beard, and he like couldn't stop twitching. Like he was on cocaine or something for every single interview. His legs were going, his arms were going, like his whole body was just like, yeah, man. And then we're going to do this and we're going to do that. It's going to be great. And you're like, chill out, man. you gotta relax, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene they shot where Neo meets Trinity for the first time was a real S&M club in Sydney. Most of this movie was shot in Sydney, Australia. But yeah, they just, the extras were people that went to this club. They didn't have costumes for it. They were just like, hey guys, we're going to film a movie this night. Yeah. So like bring your best and shiniest and come be an extra in this friggin' movie.
It's again, another very small touch that I love in the film. Again, just showing that they probably had a chance to work and rework things and get things right. But the idea of like, follow the white rabbit, just how that worked, right?
Don't think about it, John, because what if that girl didn't turn the way she did? It was on her back. Yes. And the whole movie wouldn't have happened.
but yeah, it's a fair point.
But I guess it's the Matrix, so they could have programmed
because
it
you have this as a tattoo, and you have that as the Alice in Wonderland reference. It's just so cool the way it works out. But yeah, if you want to think about like the particulars of it, maybe you can pick it apart. But
it can maybe control her a little bit because it's the Matrix. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah. But again, I thought it was just a great plot device there to say that, and then to have it be like the tattoo and you'd
knock
be like,
knock
okay.
Neo.
Yes. I love it.
Love it too. It's pretty good. So since Keanu was injured, they had to move the desk stuff, the office stuff to the first things they shot. And they were shooting the inside the office stuff with Keanu the very first day.
Right.
And they also had the second unit doing the helicopter stuff the first day in Sydney. And they didn't get the right permits for the helicopter stuff. They actually got in trouble with the city. But what ended up happening is the city changed the laws on how they could shoot movies to make it so what they did was actually legal. Yeah.
Accommodate
they see
that?
the first scene too. They're like, all right.
Yeah, they send it to the mayor and they're like, check it out. And they're like, oh yeah, fucking fly the helicopter through the city.
We're good.
Oh, yeah, that's gonna be sick. That's gonna be sick. Yeah, that's gonna be sick.
We're gonna change the laws
we'll
here. Okay, let's work on it.
Yeah,
what's the budget? 60 million.
yeah.
It's going straight into the city. Fuck yeah, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
I know, right? Seriously.
They did color correction for everything in the movie. For the Matrix stuff, they removed all of the blue out of it. So it was like very like yellow, orange. I'm colorblind, so I'm just like, I don't know. Does that sound like
wait? So you mean when you're in the quote unquote
when you're in the Matrix, there's no blue, and then when you're in the real world in the Nebuchadnezzar, it's all blue. The only green in the real world, the only green was the Matrix lines down the screen, which was supposed to be the connection of like that's the Matrix. The Matrix is green.
Nice.
All the shots in the Matrix are pretty heavily green.
That's really cool.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
But no, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, how about how I had no clue?
But maybe you did.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
clue.
It's the same thing with like Pan's Labyrinth, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like subconscious.
It's a theme,
and
it helps you more clearly understand where you're at whenever you're watching it. Yeah,
without having to be told.
Because this movie is very easy to understand. It creates it's a crazy idea, and it's completely kind of made up. But like it doesn't seem like it's just explaining things to you the whole time, and you get it the first time you watch it.
That's true.
Colors,
Good point.
Colors definitely help. It's gotta be, every little
Inception.
thing probably helps.
Right.
Unlike Inception, where I'm still like, wait a minute, is Leo's wife still alive on the next level of dreams? He should probably kill himself and figure it out. 'Cause she's lonely up there. Special effects guy talked a lot about Citizen Kane.
Why?
He specifically.
Because it's just what they do in the movie.
Yeah, so there's a lot of
industry,
shots they pointed out where you go through a TV screen or you go into the Matrix through a computer screen.
Right. So you kind of
transition from like one world to the other.
Yeah.
And he's like that shot from Citizen Kane in the beginning where there's 10 different shots of like you going
which was
through
good,
Zanzibar.
which we all would agree that was cool.
Pretty cool.
Probably
for a whole
the
movie.
coolest thing about the whole damn film.
Yeah,
it was cool.
Yeah, but that window shot is famous, and this guy made the Matrix.
Fine, whatever.
So you kind of have to.
So there you go.
Take it with no salt.
And this is why the teachers are like, "Listen, kids, you gotta watch this one." And you're like, "All
right." For the bug scene, some of it they used a Keanu replica. His torso, his head was in the table, his body was under the table, and his body was like the body that you saw was like a plastic model of his body. The movie Brazil, which we watched on this podcast, Terry Gilliam, Jonathan Pryce, right? Remember that movie?
Yeah.
Was influenced for the technology looks, all the like overly done technology, like the extra wires outside of everything sort of thing. That's where they got the post-punk look.
They're thinking of it. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. A lot of the sets were real. Like the office building was like a set, and they had it in a studio, and they built an office, and they had this giant matte painting behind it, like of the city. So what you're looking at through the window is a giant painting. It looked like it was 200 feet long and maybe 60 feet high, and it was this giant canvas thing they rolled out just so like it looked like it was all in the background. It's kind of like what is it called? A virtual what is it called, TC? What they do now with like the screens in the background?
The volume walls.
It's like a giant TV.
Volume walls?
Video walls. It's like that, but it was just a painting.
Yeah, video walls.
but they had it there, and that was the set. And they actually had like a helicopter on a crane. It was a light helicopter, but they were actually sitting in a replica helicopter, and they actually had like pea shooters shooting out glass that was made out of sand for all that stuff. So like that, and they actually had like the set inside flooded with water. So like, and all of the bullets while they were shooting them, they had air guns in the water to shoot the water up. So it looked like the bullets were hitting. So they had it all synchronized. It's like everything you see in that scene is real. Every single thing. There's like they're not doing it in two different places. They're doing it like right in the same spot.
Right.
In the shot.
In the shot, right at the same time.
Completely insane.
Wow.
Terminator 2 influenced Neo going metal. That the special effects guy was like, what he talked about too, not only being negative, but he was basically saying they didn't do anything new in this movie with effects. They just basically used previously existing effects.
As far as the CG, or because
as far as the CG.
Yeah. Okay.
He said they used effects that were like done elsewhere, but in this movie, what makes them different is that they actually aid the story. They're not just done for like special effects sake. Every special effect in this
like
movie,
everything else, it's like integrated, right?
Yeah.
But this was the guy that was, I don't know, depressed about his life or something. Anyway.
Yeah, he's a nut. He's a nut. That's for sure.
He's maybe having a bad day. I don't know.
And there are shots in this movie that like you think are special effects. Like the one he was talking about was when Neo gets dumped out of the pod and gets craned up into like a hatch, and the hatch closes. Mm-hmm. Zero visual effects in that movie. It's just that's what they shot, and they color corrected the black
clunky crane that's like picking him up. And everything. Yeah.
So like, there's a lot of stuff like that where you just assume. I assumed that there was some kind of special effect going on, but.
No. And again, it's such a great contrast in terms of like just how pale he is, how he's bald,
he lost
how he's
15 to 20 pounds and shaved literally his entire body, including his eyebrows.
Oh shit!
And what he said was, people would not look him in the eyes when he shaved his eyebrows. People avoided looking at him in the eyes just because it made him feel uncomfortable.
So weird.
Like, hey man, you're like looking down at you're looking down.
But it's
you're
Keanu
like, hey
Reeves.
man.
It's like probably thinking like, dude, you got a drug problem, and we're not going to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
But,
And what Carrie Ann Moss said after this movie too is she couldn't leave the house in sunglasses. If she didn't have sunglasses on, people wouldn't recognize her. But if she had sunglasses on, people would be like, Trini!
That's funny.
So she can't wear sunglasses
which
anymore.
is tough here in Los Angeles.
Yeah. That scene with Keanu in the acupuncture seat, those are all real pins, all practical stuff there.
What do you mean? He's actually being poked?
Oh yeah, it's acupuncture. That's what they do.
Jesus.
Apparently it doesn't hurt. I mean, I've never done it, but it's supposed to be relaxing for some reason.
I guess.
It would make me nervous. You can't fucking move, I would think, right?
No one to roll over.
What if the place catches on fire? You're going to run out of there with fucking 100 pins sticking out of you? I don't think so.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I was going to be thinking about the next fire, guys. Come on.
Yeah.
Speaking like a true Californian over here.
I was going to say.
That's right.
Things are on fire right now.
Yeah, things are on
There's
fire
always
all the time.
Yeah, always shit on fire. The bullet time and the egg harvesting shot. So you guys know what the bullet time, the rooftop thing, that's obvious. The egg harvesting shot is a shot where a robot spider kind of crawls down on one of the eggs, checks on the egg to make sure it's okay. And then it kind of, the camera turns and shows the entire egg farm kind of thing. That shot was at the time the most complicated CG shot ever. Because of the camera movements. Like a lot of the CG before then, there wasn't camera movements associated with the shot, or it was just CG within a real shot. That was 100% CG with camera movements in it. So like that was groundbreaking. That shot took, those two shots, the bullet time and that one, took over a year and a half to complete.
Wow.
Individually. The bullet time one was even longer because the research for how they did that took, they started in 1996. This movie came out in 99. Whoa. So like 3 years before. They started at first figuring out how they were going to do it. And it was one of the last 4 shots to be complete in the entire movie.
Wow.
So it took forever. And John has seen, all right, here's the question coming back to you, TC. How do you think back in 1997 or whenever they were filming this movie, how do you think they would do a 3-dimensional time slow down
The
shot?
only reason why I know this is because they used to do it in skateboarding too. Back at the X Games, they also had this, but it's when you like, it's like multiple cameras in like a U shape, and then they kind of go around you while you're doing the thing, which allows them to stop time, basically.
That's what it is, and so it's not even a U shape. They did a full 360.
Oh, did they?
And it was
cool.
still cameras.
That's
it was
cool.
like picture cameras, and it wasn't just like I would imagine at the X Games it would just be a flat thing of so you could like just rotate on a flat plane.
They had it on this
they would
huge
have the
crane,
cameras.
and it would like rotate around the skateboarders, and when they were doing vert, and so you could like come up and come out, and then it would freeze them while they were in the air. And so
why don't they do that anymore?
Cool.
That sounds pretty cool.
I think it's dangerous.
Yeah, okay.
Because like back then it was
sense.
cool, but I mean I don't
somebody
know.
hit their head on it. And died,
someone
so.
ate shit probably, and that was the end of that. Because I remember watching Tony Hawk do it, like he's gonna hit that sometime. But I think too, it's just part of the new technology. You want to try it out and like see what it does. So I didn't realize they had one that was full 360 though.
It was full 360, and they actually had like if you look at what they shot, the camera position, the elevation changed too. So it not only like went around, but it went down and around.
Wow.
So like it was kind of at an angle.
Very cool.
And they actually they thought about it for a while. They wanted to strap a rocket to a camera.
What?
To do it, because they wanted to be able to like put the camera on a track and make it move fast enough so that it would go whoosh around the people.
Whoa.
And they're like, you cannot do that. Because you would like there's no camera in the world that wouldn't blow up.
Right.
Like, you'd move things so fast that everything inside would just explode.
Jesus.
So they were like, we could maybe try to research building a camera for this one effect, but it might not work. It would take a long time and it would cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So then they kept like thinking about it, and this guy, it was actually the special effect guy, the downer dude, very negative dude, thought of this idea of just get a bunch of still cameras, synchronize them to take, a picture, a millisecond or whatever the timing is, one after the other. And you basically get like the slow-mo shot that's fully 360. And then they layered on special effects on top of it. The programming to get the 3D bullets, like filming the actual actors for that was difficult enough, groundbreaking. They had to build a whole rig that was fucking expensive and synchronize it and meld it together. But then they had to CG the bullets on top of it, which was even harder because they had to program that shit into it. They had to create a virtual world for the special effect. And he talked about it a lot. I didn't understand a word he was saying because it was like way above my head, which doesn't normally happen with commentary tracks. You don't get like geniuses or just the people that have like such specific knowledge about something so out of the realm of like what anybody would typically know about things.
Right.
This guy created something to make it work, and it was extremely groundbreaking at the time. So negative Nancy or not, this dude
was
knew his shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And that he's probably negative because he got kicked out of Hollywood or something stupid. And he's like,
maybe. Or he's like, not
just
famous.
doesn't.
He's like, I made bullet time. And the people at bars
and
are
no
like,
one gives a
didn't.
fuck. Yeah. He's just at the bar in
you.
LA drinking, and everyone's like, you're just a bum. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got
I did
no more
bullet time for the
friends.
Matrix. Yeah, and I was fucking the director of Citizen Kane.
Yeah, right.
good
Exactly.
job. Nice,
Yeah,
buddy.
makes sense,
nice.
bro. Yeah. Nice to meet you
He's
too.
like, no, really.
Yeah, I
really,
know.
I did it.
I don't care.
Yeah. The kung fu scene there was no stunt doubles in that scene. It was Keanu and Fishburne 100% of the time.
Wow.
Nice.
All practical. When they were practicing, they kind of pulled their punches a bit, but when they were on set, their adrenaline got to them and they did not pull their punches, and they were beating the shit out of each other on camera.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of shots of them having to like have people rush over to them, being like, can you continue today? They had bruises all over their bodies for the days they were shooting that.
Damn.
So, I mean, it looks good because they were
Really doing
8 months
it,
of training and they were really hitting each other. So,
Damn.
No trick there, just hard work, talent, and punching each other. That's all it takes. For that agent training scene where they had, it was like the woman in the red dress scene. That was a pretty complicated special effect. They shot Neo and Morpheus on a blue screen. They shot Agent Smith on a blue screen, and they shot a crowd with motion controlled cameras. All of those with like the same kind of cameras, so they could get the movements the same. They'd program it in and get them to replicate the movements. And they basically, obviously, if you shoot them separately, you can overlay them and you can freeze certain portions of it, which is what they did, which is pretty cool. But what they also did, is you might not have noticed, is that they hired twins and triplets for all the characters in that scene.
Oh wow, really?
Wow.
Because they wanted to put the idea of like the programmer, the mouse guy was more focused on working on the woman in red.
Right.
And he was like diversifying the crowd. So he like copy and pasted character models.
All these little things that you don't even notice. I mean, that scene just goes by so smoothly. So, you don't notice all this shit.
They had a casting call for twins and triplets, and nobody knows that that's what their intent was, because I didn't notice that either. Like, I don't think anyone would have noticed.
But what you do notice, you do get a feeling of blandness and sameness about the crowd. That comes across, even if you're not like sure, you're not like pointing out that they all look alike. You are getting a sense of mundaneness about it that comes through.
That's true. It's another one of those things that just like it ends up working. The intent worked. It doesn't jump out at you as like, this is why it worked, but like it works. Good shit. It's like that's movie magic right there. TC.
Again, it is. Those are the types of things that you only know from experience of. But how do I make something work like that? And you know someone that's like, well, we did this once, and so that's when you know you've got like tribal knowledge that the rest of us don't. Because I would never have thought about that, right? Like.
Yeah.
And most casting people would not have thought about that.
And like, that's such a small thing that I think most movies would be like, we're not doing that. It's going to be hard to get, people.
It's going to waste our time.
We're just going to do, we're going to cut that out. We'll save like $50,000, $100,000 or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you end up with a crappy movie, but they still make money on it, and it doesn't matter.
Again, it's fine. If all movies are crappy, or any movie is crappy.
Yeah, well, there you go, right?
Real question.
What if?
Yeah.
That's again the general theme here again and again as you like reveal this stuff, Denny. The amount of passion that or the sense of wanting to make this as good as you possibly could at all of these levels. That it's just kind of astonishing. Again,
it's unbelievable. There's no equal to this movie. I don't think. Like,
in terms of like I don't know. Just because the script was so good, or I don't know if it was the Wachowskis.
It's everything. It's everything.
But what motivated so many people at all of these, whether it was sound or the actors or what the special effects people, what motivated them all to like work their asses off. It was at a point in time, like TC said, where the internet was coming around, so that you could like, that was important then. Plus, it was around a time where CG was at a point where they couldn't do CG for a lot of the stuff. So the stuff they couldn't do CG for, there's practical effects. Whereas the 3 years later, when they made the sequels, they could do everything CG, which is not good, right? Like having everything in the computer is not good.
We've seen that fail before,
Right. Yeah. What is it that made so many people across all the departments decide to work so hard?
Keanu was so the directors and Keanu seemed like the main ones. Keanu was so determined to make this good. He would be the people said a lot of the time, they would get the shot. They'd be like, all right, we got it. We're good. And he'd be like, I want another one. That wasn't good enough. Like, let's do it again. And sometimes they'd listen to him. And sometimes they'd be like, dude, Keanu, we have to move on, man. Like, we got it. I trust us. It's a good one. So Keanu was like super invested in it emotionally and physically and everything. Like, he was pushing for it. Plus the directors, they had such a vision for it. Like, there were multiple times in the special features where like, the actors would be talking amongst themselves, like, how should we do this? What would look cool? And they can't figure out what to do. And they would just go, directors. Right, And then the Wachowskis would run over and they'd be like, how should we hold the gun? Should it be like here? Should it be like here? And they'll sit there and they'll kind of hunch over, and like the two guys with the backwards hats will like just talk to each other. The twins would just like talk to their very similar brains and just come up with the solution and tell them. And then everyone would be like, okay, yes, that's what we're doing.
Wow.
So they had directors that knew, like, everyone trusted them with every single decision. They asked for difficult things and people pushed back and they wouldn't back down. I think having two directors probably helps with that.
Definitely.
Because like there was two people, like you'd see one person, like the stunt guy would frequently be like, we can't do that. And they would stand there and just like not say anything.
Two directors.
Like, but we want this. We want it though. And they're
why
like,
can't you do that?
Yeah. They would do that a lot and they wouldn't be assholes about it, but like they wanted what they wanted. They had it drawn out. They wouldn't they wouldn't take an alternate for an answer. They were like, we hired you because you're the best. You need to figure out how to do this.
And they're like, but that person's gonna die. And they're like, right. But again, we hired you because you're the best.
Make sure the cameras are rolling. It'll be good.
Yeah, and if they die, then I will take the blame. But
Right.
I need
That's why
you
we have
to
insurance.
do this. Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
So I think it's mostly those three guys.
Nice.
But you know,
I think
the
it's just impressive.
The script impressed
I
everyone.
know-
The fact that the studio is funneling money to the movie,
Right.
is something that
There's like a
doesn't
positive
happen.
energy about this that is not normally the case. I think time and time again we hear about a movie that does do well, but people, as they're making it, they're not sure. They think it's they have no idea. Like they're nervous about it. So maybe that also, like, I don't know
The
if we-
distraction too of like the different, like what Lawrence Fishburne said, like he forgot after doing all the kung fu stuff at the end how much depth this movie has, just because of how long they spent shooting just pure action scenes.
Right.
It changed a lot. Like there's a lot of different kinds of stuff in this movie. So like nobody got bored
like Star
with any
Wars
individual part
Like,
in
they
filming.
thought Star Wars was going to flop, and I think including George Lucas. I think if I remember correctly.
Because the sound effects and the special effects bring that shit together. I mean,
Right,
everything in that movie is good, but it's like if you don't have the sound effects and the special effects,
I think
you don't
this
have
is
that much.
kind of seems like somewhat unique in terms of hearing about the production of a film where not everybody was on board thinking this is going to be awesome, doing everything they can to make it to be the most awesome they can make it, and that the studio is on board too. Like
Studio
it
is
just seems-
excited,
right? It just seems
they're
like an
sure they're gonna make
unusual
money.
kind of combination of events here where because normally there's so much uncertainty and doubt, at least amongst whether it's the studio doubting or even the directors themselves or the writers going, oh, this is going to be shitty. I don't even know if this is going to work. I think
it was because of the storyboards too. If you look
Yeah.
at the storyboards and the fact that
That's true.
they
There's
line up with
something
the
to
scripts,
visualize before you even
they
do
know
the shooting. You know,
they know that if they get what's in the storyboards, they're going to have a
give
movie
a
that
good
makes
movie,
sense,
right?
And it's going to be good.
Yeah. Plus, Keanu was on fire then.
Yeah,
it culturally it made sense. I mean,
That's
it was
true.
like
Yeah.
I hadn't seen Lawrence Fishburne before this movie.
Oh
and
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
great in a lot of stuff, but like him as Morpheus is.
Oh.
It's incredible what he does in this movie. Same with Hugo Weaving.
Yeah.
Does the pill actually do anything, or was it just a test?
I don't know.
That's a test, a choice. It is a way of like making a
test?
choice by action.
But
so
was
that
the
you're
metal stuff?
committing-
Was that
I have
the
no
pill?
idea. I mean,
Because it seemed like the guy that was controlling it was like capturing
well, actually,
him in the
you would
Matrix
think,
as well.
you would think that
through a
somehow
program?
I mean, you assume there's something in the pill that's going to that enables him to wake up and be in the
It's
real
just a
world.
Valium because that procedure is rough, so you got to get him nice and
Oh,
relaxed.
maybe it is. Maybe it's a little. But
fast acting Valium.
But the fun again, it's another great thing about the film and the plot. It's that how the mechanism of how that pill works doesn't matter. What matters is that it becomes this way of showing the Keanu's character making this choice and making a decision. You know, whether he's going to accept the fake reality or learn what the harsh truth is, and he has to take an action on that. And that's why it's like it doesn't matter how the pill might actually work or not. What's cool is that
He had a choice, unlike
Right.
Long Legs. Am I right?
Right.
Where she just floats through choiceless.
yeah.
There's choice after choice. And the
Yeah.
scene where he
Right.
also like, I'm steamrolling here, John, but
Yeah,
the
go
scene
ahead.
where
There
they're
you go.
thinking about
Yeah.
taking Morpheus's plug out, and he's like, no, this can't be happening. This can't be real, like
Yes.
sort of thing. Another choice. He stops what's gonna happen, and
Right.
he does something about it. And like the whole it has
And
raises
then
questions
it
about
forces
fate.
him
It
on
raises
some other
questions about
path.
like
That's
if you
the-
knew it was going to
yeah,
happen,
right?
Yeah.
could you change it?
And
Would
that's
it
the
make
idea.
a difference?
That's the other
You know?
thing. Like, this is a very dark film in a lot of ways, but it also is a hopeful film in the sense of the individual can change things, right? You can take fate into your own hands. And you argue, oh well, Neo's just the one; he's special, and nobody else gets to do it. But if that aside, it's this idea of like you can make your own reality. You can decide what happens, and that's also like sort of like again because the film's dark. People die. You know, the idea that all of humanity is slave to AI and we're
The
just
weight,
batteries.
the fact that they let you die, and if you die in the Matrix, you're dead. Like that, great
Right.
choice, right?
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
If it wasn't that, then it'd be like, oh well, you could like fucking
Right.
fly
Yeah,
around
but-
and do whatever you want in
yeah,
the Matrix.
yeah.
It's not scary at all.
But there's again, and there's the movie.
Yeah, who
sets up
cares who
stakes
you
really
fight?
well,
You're
even
not
though
gonna die, right.
Acting good or bad aside, people are dying right up front. You know, there's actually you meet the crew, but then a lot of the crew gets wiped out pretty soon. So the film has stakes like right away, and it's really well done in that sense. Again, you might
it's actually not that
Yeah,
soon.
okay,
This
but-
movie is long as fuck. it seems early on because so much happens towards the end of the movie, but it's like kind of far along in the movie.
Yeah, but the film has a weight to it at the same time. It doesn't feel silly action either. As cool as it is, like it also,
except for the leg kick, pretty silly.
I am right. But it's another thing that it's it is.
I like it.
But
to give credit, Carrie-Anne Moss during that part was the only time she interrupts, and she's like, "I love it. Look at his leg. Look at it. It's glorious. Look at his leg."
Good for her. But it's another thing the film does well. You got the action, you got the style, but there's a seriousness about it that works. That's crazy
because he's saving the world, right?
Yeah, but there's a darkness and a seriousness about it that makes this feel substantial. It feels meaningful, and that's also, this could be a silly B action movie and be good
easily,
right?
Right?
It'd still be pretty goddamn cool. It could be a silly B action movie with a lot of cool special effects and some fun acting, but that's not what happens either. This is like I don't know. It's a serious movie at the same time, and I don't know how it pulls that off, but it does, and that's another miracle. Thing that's remarkable. Yeah.
It is insane. It is. Mm-hmm. It is pretty hard to believe that this movie exists. It is definitely, we're in the freaking top 20 now, guys. Yeah, this is the real shit right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the home run, the home stretch here.
Oh god, for sure. This is like one of the few movies where you could put it
up that high.
This could be the best movie
I put this
of our
top
generation.
Top five.
I think.
Top five. I would rather have it be even higher than this. I think, kind of, because it's just it
does more than any other movie does. I think that's the thing that I kind of took away from it. Like
you hold to this, but I think.
What other movie does as much as this? Like most movies, if you look at like Shawshank Redemption, great drama. You got The Dark Knight.
Well, yeah, more superhero movie. You also have the best narrator ever to narrate, right?
Where?
Yeah, Morgan Freeman narrating.
Yeah.
Yes,
but it's a drama.
That's like,
it's
I think, a big
drama.
part of why
it's doing one thing and it does it well. What other movie does so many things? And does it well, and also is like
it's a really good point.
And is entertaining and makes you think. And is just like all the genres. It's literally every single genre.
Like you can think of, like you said, like earlier when you think about Fury Road. Yes, that's the best action movie, but because it's pure, it's not. There's not all these layers.
Uncut,
to it.
Pure uncut action.
Right. Yeah.
No fussing around.
Yeah, you snort
you don't
that,
think
you're
about
just
it.
Out for days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
No dilly-dallying
whatsoever. I don't know what else you think of. Like Star Wars is really cool and a fun action kind of buddy comedy. Really cool special.
But it doesn't
effects.
make you think.
It doesn't have the layers of it that this does. And I think it's a really good point. Yeah. I don't know.
And Star Wars isn't as creative as this movie is, because Star Wars is kind of a carbon copy of like the old story of
I know the samurai story,
lost royalty, trying to find his place.
It is totally, unquestionably awesome for what it is, but it does not have the layers and the depth that this one does.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting to think of it.
The only thing I can think of is Inception, because Inception tries to be funny. It tries to be thought provoking.
Yeah, but like every other fucking Christopher Nolan movie, it has the emotional depth of a rock. I mean, this guy is like just so emotionally blunted.
I can't wait to get to Inception to talk with you, John, about what you think about Leo's acting in the scenes where his wife is trying to kill herself. Because
I don't know, man.
In my head, that's some of Leo's best stuff in a movie that does not work. I think.
Hey, I've seen Leo. I've seen Leo do good. I've like turned a corner on Leo. Like there's been some films in that I've really appreciated him, and I forgot what it was. No, but
The Revenant.
No.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
What? No, God damn it!
Oh, that's good. Good.
No,
Backstory.
No.
Hey,
I'm listing off great movies that he's in, John. I don't know why you keep saying no. These are great movies.
I forget. There was a film where I said I really like Leo in this, and I can't remember which film it was.
Blood Diamond.
No, Blood Diamond was good. No.
Catch Me If You Can? No?
What was it? Maybe it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, that could have been it.
It could have been.
No.
He was. I mean, there was one scene in that where he was.
There was
one scene where he was good, where he was like the drunk guy in the movie trailer, but like the rest of it was just Leo being fucking
There was a film
Leo
where I said I really liked Leo, and I can't remember which film it was. God damn it. Now I'm upset.
Yeah. I do remember you saying you liked Leo and it being kind of a revelation because you shit on him undeservingly frequently.
I know.
Which, but
there was.
I'm not appreciating somebody who likes the guy.
I'm really sorry about
he does
that.
good stuff.
I'm not. But I just can't remember the film that I really liked him in. That made me.
Well, you couldn't like him that much then.
I guess not.
Can't even remember the
I guess
movie.
it didn't really make that much of an impression, did it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I guess
Leo.
you're wrong again, John.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Should we get back to trivia?
I'm sure he's
Yes,
really
yes,
upset on his
yes,
yacht with the girls that are half his age.
Okay, so
yeah, I think so. You know,
the best action scene in the movie is probably a helicopter scene. They tested a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But what, John?
I'm sorry. I love the lobby scene so much.
The lobby scene that's the same scene, isn't it?
No, but the helicopter is different. I separate the helicopter.
It's immediately
from,
afterwards.
I know, but
I think of that as one action scene.
No. You're outside.
You could do that.
No.
Yeah,
You're
you could do that.
inside in the
Sequence.
lobby with all
Same
the bullets
sequence.
and the crumbling infrastructure, and then you're outside with the helicopter. Different thing.
I could see that argument. That's fine. I don't feel like arguing with John.
It's a great.
I don't feel like arguing with
it's all
John.
fine,
but he's
right?
jumping from the.
It's too late. Oh
Yeah,
man,
whatever,
I'm being
John.
dismissed.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever,
I'm not
John.
I
worth
can
it.
kind of see
Yeah.
it, but it's usually
Yeah,
action
whatever.
scenes
Okay.
have separation with plot. That
Yeah.
is
No,
one.
it's-
It goes from
it's-
the
it's one
lobby
sequence.
to the roof. It
I
is.
know. It
is a linear
It does it
action
really
scene.
well. I agree.
Yeah.
Fine. Fair enough. I don't care.
It is
It's
a
all
different
good.
Part of the
place,
same
though. It's in the
sequence.
top floor. Anyway, the shot of the helicopter flying into the building, quarter scale. Quarter scale is still pretty big. We're talking about a helicopter in a high rise. Quarter scale.
Wow.
They did a lot of tests in the desert. The Wachowskis knew what they wanted for the explosion. They visually drew out the waves. They visually drew out the explosions, and they knew what they wanted, but they didn't know how to get it. So they went to the desert and had an explosions expert test over and over and over again. They actually tested out the bullet time cameras at the same time.
Wow.
The first footage they successfully got in 3 dimensions in bullet time was a barrel on fire in this shooting range area they had, like in the Australian desert somewhere, I guess. But what they did is they built this sequence of bombs. It was basically like rings behind the glass of this miniature that were timed out to explode in sequence outwards.
Oh wow!
And
Nice.
they did it. They tested it, and they filmed it in super high speed camera, so in slow motion. And the best part of any of the special features was watching the people watch the dailies or like the immediate feedback of that shot, because you watch it and it's super fast. And you're like, that looks like an explosion. Like, that was cool, but like, that's an explosion. But then when you watch the high speed camera and it going in slow motion, you can see the ripple of the explosion going outwards. And literally everybody watching it was like, whoa!
Oh wow.
That is cool.
Yeah, they're like, oh my
that's
God, you
That's
guys
cool. Like,
fucking
it's
did it.
success. We did it. Yeah, right.
There was like probably, it sounded
That's
like there were
awesome.
like 50 people
That's
watching
sick.
the little camera thing. They had it was awesome. They're
I can
like,
imagine
"Holy
as they're seeing
shit,
this
guys."
stuff come
Yeah.
together, they're like, holy shit, this is so cool.
Yeah. And that's like one part of that shot.
Definitely.
They had all the CG. They overlaid Trinity. They had the special effect of her hitting the glass. The way it fits into that scene, like so much going on. Pretty cool.
Cool.
How did they? Do you have any trivia on selecting Hugo Weaving? How he got the role?
Nothing specific. No.
Okay, I would just be interested. Like, I don't know if he auditioned. I don't know if they're. I don't know, because
Everyone auditioned.
Oh, yeah.
They had. So I actually have. I'm trying to move interesting trivia to the end so it doesn't end on a dud sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
So
Fine.
my last piece of trivia was who they wanted, like what the movie was going to be.
Oh, yeah.
If the first casting choices
Okay.
locked in, sort of thing.
Well, you
So
want
we can talk
you
about
still
that.
save that. Save that. That's fine.
I'll save that. But Hugo Weaving was not one of the ones. I think he had a good audition, and that
Who
was that.
else? Like,
Yeah.
who fucking else could do it?
That was that.
It's just
Like
ridiculous.
that. Nobody.
Yeah. And that just, I mean, you start with just how he looks, and then what
How he
does-
moves.
right? How he
And
moves,
his deep-ass voice.
how he
And his
sneers.
cadence.
Like, right, his voice, his cadence, his expressions.
Yeah.
It's just,
Do you want to know?
You're hanging on
what
every
it
word.
is?
yeah.
Literally, it's listening. It's like listening to Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lambs.
Exactly,
where, like,
yeah.
The way he
But-
does it, you're just like, next word, please. Next word, please. I love
Yes.
this.
Very good comparison. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were born to be an actor, Larry. I knew it.
Yeah. It's interesting. Like his choices. It's like what Nick Cage tries to do all the time with
Sure.
his like random
Well, and
musical vocal shit. that
like,
he
like
does, you know?
he does this. So Right. I know Silence of the Lambs is awesome. Anthony Hopkins is awesome there. But there's so much backstory and history, and you have this book that like lays out what all that is. That really like describes that character and makes it kind of easy to fit that role. This is different. This is just like, oh, you're a computer guy, you're a robot guy, so what are you gonna do with that? You're an evil agent robot guy. There's nothing there that you have that indicates that you're going to make this like an iconic like fucking killer role. Like Hannibal Lecter, your guy, this psychiatrist that eats people, that's super smart, that's going to help. That you got all this setup that's going to make for a really fucking good character. You still have to have somebody really good do it, yes, but with someone like just Agent Smith, there's not a lot there.
The script is there.
Well, the script is that the monologue he has maybe helps.
I think I don't know. I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, it's the way that they do it, which is unwritten.
Maybe
you can't. Maybe
there's a lot. I just can't see if it'd be interesting to read the script and see what's there as far as describing Agent Smith himself.
Usually the dialogue.
Maybe, but even the dialogue is
usually it's just words.
Well, that's what I said. Fuck you.
They don't say like pause here.
No,
between this word and this word.
And then if you were listening to me, Denny, when I said that's why I referred to the monologue,
I was listening to you,
which really that describes his character. That monologue where he describes humans as a virus, right? But that is still not a lot compared to like if you were to read
that scene's pretty good. He's talking about being a computer program and how he's getting sick about being. He has human feelings. Right. He's becoming human and he hates it.
And he hates it.
He wants. He basically wants to die.
It's not the same thing as like if you read Silence of the Lambs and there's this depth of character. You know who Hannibal Lecter is. You understand him as a human. This is something completely other. Like something. I don't know. I just think
I kind of agree with you to a point because there is lore
I read
Silence, but these guys create the lore themselves.
Right. I know,
right? And it's kind of
and maybe the Wachowskis really knew what they wanted and directed Hugo. Right? I'm just thinking
Hugo had the idea of coming up. He was going to be a 50s TV announcer. And that was going to be like his cadence that he wanted to do.
What's this? He's going to be like that, like more like enthusiastic, kind of like.
No. What he did, what he's doing, he thinks is like a announcer? 50s news station.
Yeah, but I thought those are like enthusiastic or positive.
No, like a Walter Cronkite type of guy.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
we're not talking about horse races. No, that's like a horse race. That's not that. Yeah, right.
No, I was talking about like coming around the corner again. Here we go. The narration you get like in the movie upward. We're out here, intrepid explorer of the north. Here, whatever that sort of cadence is. That's what I was thinking. If you say like a 50s,
no, like actual TV, not like a cartoony,
like a Walter Cronkite,
like advertisement thing.
But there's so much menace in this that's not what you get from a news announcer. That again, I think it's just. He could have gone with this character, given what you might have even in the monologue or stuff. And again, maybe the Wachowskis knew what they were going after. You could have gone in so many directions with that evilness or whatever, and played it in so many different ways. I think Hannibal Lecter, you read what it was, and you like see Anthony Hopkins do it. And you're like, yeah, that's it. And it's glorious, but that's exactly what it is. This, it seems like the choices here could have gone in any kind of direction. And it's just kind of amazing how it worked, because he's like so sinister and cool. He's cool too, which is what is also kind of awesome.
He's such a threat. He's so like his powers are extreme, and it just always is a threat.
Yeah.
And his eyes are always bugging out of his head.
It's nonstop tension. His character creates tension throughout the movie,
just by moving slowly and deliberately the way he does, right?
Because he doesn't need to run, because he can fucking teleport basically to whoever else.
Right. So even like how he does this, and again, like he'll like slowly move his head to look at where the guy's gone, right? Because he's got all the time in the world.
Slowly develops his powers as the movie goes on, because like when Keanu gets shot, he's basically like that scene where he's running through the apartment building. Agent Smith is just hopping from person to person to person until he like figures out he's going to wait in the room and shoot him in the chest when he runs in. Yeah. So like the way they even like develop his abilities throughout the movie is like it increases as it goes on.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's brilliant. Yeah,
it's awesome.
You're trying to give credit to Hugo Weaving in the directions of his action.
I'm trying
his choices, and I don't know why I tried to stop you from doing it.
I don't either, man.
I'm just trying to give Anthony Hopkins.
You care to explain that just because you want to? Exactly, right?
Because it's fun to go against John.
Call me Larry.
Start calling you Frank too. I think is what's coming next.
Fuck you! I'm going to be famous one day.
Larry. Hey, Larry. Good to see ya. Yeah, he's fucking Larry. I knew it.
So another thing they would mostly cut out of other movies is in the car scenes. They could have just shot them in cars because in the late 90s, it's easy to put a camera in a car. But what the Wachowskis wanted to do was make it seem like the world outside of the car was not real. So what they did was they shot, it was like a rear projection movie, like from the 50s or 40s or whatever, where they just like sit in a stationary car and project a street going by on the outside. And they did it on purpose, and they changed the color and they reduced the frame rate of the what was being shown. And you can't tell, but maybe you can, because like what they're supposed to be showing is when they're in the Matrix driving around that it's not real.
It doesn't.
They wanted to kind of slightly convey that it's not reality.
Wow, I didn't pick up on that. I mean,
you don't.
Maybe, yeah.
It's another thing where like they have this idea, and maybe it helps you. You know, maybe it helps it all work in a like a little direction, like a slight little push. You know, I think it's worth it. It's pretty sweet how they thought of all this stuff, and it's just like you don't point at it and say that's what's happening here,
right? But there's this meticulousness and passion about making this to be the best thing that it could be. Like they're over and over
and
again.
There's so many ideas.
Yeah.
The fact that like they have every single scene in shot and like way you could act it, they have thoughts and they want to do it a specific way. You know, they're like in full control of this, and everybody's on board because they align with it. Like everyone aligns with what they're trying to do, and their direction is correct as they go along, right? Like they're captains and they're directing them correctly, and everyone's like, hell yeah, right. Captains, we're doing it right. Everyone agrees. The Wachowskis were carpenters before film, and they were good carpenters, and they think that's why they have attention to detail, because like they know how like crafting. Small little things can make a big difference in the overall picture. So that's what that is. So the wet wall thing, another thing why they're carpenters, they focus on like how things are built. That whole set where they are trying to escape from the agents, and they go into the plumbing wall and climb down. Another great thing. I love how they're sliding down that with their like feet, like they're carving out like troughs on the side as they're sliding down. Looks fantastic. And it shows the shot of the tiles popping out of the bathroom as they slide down. That's from their carpentry backgrounds. They built that set. It was, that's all practical. Them crawling down, very tall, very skinny set that they actually crawled down it. That's no special effects there. Wow. Pretty cool. During that scene, the visual effects guy, this movie is full of the flimsiest special effects. It's amazing they skate by in this movie. Special effects guy. Dude, you're just, I don't know what his problem is. He was so angry. I don't know if it's just...
He hates his work. Yeah, he's just angry.
What? Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He's angry at the industry. He got no credit. He's just, maybe this is his only thing. He's on the fucking commentary track. He doesn't get any fucking accolades. Yeah.
Well, this film was not. This film was not even nominated. It was not. Wait.
Wait. He got the best thing.
Everything got the Oscar. They got nominated. Okay. This movie should have got nominated for more. It got nominated for 4. It was visual effects, editing, sound editing, and sound effects. And it got nominated for it, and it won all 4 of them.
Yeah.
So he's just being a little pissy pants.
Yes. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just like maybe this wasn't like the thing. He didn't try very hard or something on this. This wasn't really his passion. He did. And I don't know what I'm just trying to think of, like trying to maybe I don't know. Maybe he just can't. Or some people can't handle success. Some people just can't take a compliment. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, how much do you get paid to do a commentary track?
He needs the money.
Which is a couple $1,000.
Probably a day rate.
Less than that?
I don't know. No, definitely not. Yeah, less than that.
That doesn't sound like it's worth it.
Depends, though. I mean,
you got to drive all the way to the studio.
It might be different pay. Right? I have no idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. He probably lives in the middle of nowhere now because he can't afford to live in LA, and he's pissy, and
This is how
He's
good
like, I worked on
I
this
bet we
fucking
looked this
movie.
guy up.
Oscar
This guy
winner.
probably has a
Fuck off.
fantastic career,
So,
I would imagine.
Go screw.
There were lots of minor injuries on set.
He
No
probably
major
got a
injuries.
great light.
Bruises, cuts, twisted things. Hugo Weaving actually had like a polyp in his leg during like the first days of shoot, and he kept it secret from everyone because they didn't want him to be replaced. Keanu Reeves was in a neck brace basically the entire training montage part. Where like the 4 months they filmed of it, he was in a neck brace because he was recovering from surgery, and they thought that it didn't fuse as fast as they had said it was going to. But he couldn't kick. So like he didn't kick enough. The scene, and it actually came through. The only time I've seen Keanu Reeves pissed was the day of shoot where they had to film the scene of the Kung Fu fight, and he had the 3 kick in the air. Bam, bam, bam. As he jumps up, kicks Morpheus 3 times, lands, and then turns around, does a roundhouse kick. That's one shot. He couldn't get the 3 kick.
Oh.
They spent all day on the 3 kick. He did 21 takes in one day, didn't get it.
Really?
He was pissed. Like he was mad, and he was being unfriendly to people. And it was kind of shocking because like he's the friendliest dude ever.
Oh, wow.
But it makes sense, right? Like he was
failing.
Makes sense, right? Yeah.
He was failing.
Right.
And
Everyone
he's usually
says
really
that
good at this
about
stuff.
him,
And he felt bad that
he's
he was
in
like
a
wasting
fucking
people's
neck
time.
brace.
Yeah.
Dude.
So he felt bad, and it
Pissing
was
him
making him
off.
very frustrated. So he went home. I don't know what happened. He got up the next day, 3 takes the next day, got it on the second and third take. Yeah. Yeah, and he was calm too. I feel like once you get upset, you can't wind down within a day, right? You need to like take a breather, go away, start from scratch.
How do you know he was pissed? Was there some behind the scenes there that you see him?
Yeah, they filmed literally the entire movie as they were like behind the cameras, basically. Like somebody was making a documentary on this movie because they knew it was going to be a big one, you know? Like,
everybody did know. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was at every single scene, like the 2 hour, they had a 2 hour and a 1 hour making of. They were kind of different, but the 2 hour one had basically everything in it. And they just went from beginning to end of the movie showing you how they filmed that scene. So they started with the Trinity scene at the beginning. They just showed behind the scenes of everything, literally everything, all your favorite shots, you know, anything you'd be curious about, like how did they do that? What did it look like when they filmed it, sort of thing.
Wow.
You can look at it. You can see how they filmed it. It's fucking awesome because it looks a little rinky dink. It looks a little thrown together sort of thing. You know what I mean? It does. I mean, the way they edited it was amazing. Trinity running across the wall in the first scene, they show the shot they put in the movie, and it just in the behind the scenes shot doesn't look that good.
Cool. Yeah.
It doesn't look great.
That's funny.
Yeah. But then you have the camera position, you have all the color correction, you have the editing. Like you only show the good half a second of whatever it is, and you meld it with all the other shots.
The score and the sound and everything.
You just meld it in, and it looks amazing. But like her, like in a freaking weird strappy vinyl diaper on ropes, running across like literally wood, just like, you know, plywood on the wall, so her feet have grip. Like it doesn't look great. But what they get away, what they do with it is remarkable. Like it happens throughout the shoot. Like the scene where they were showing where the squid is coming in to kill Neo at the end of the movie. They literally hold a folding chair over Trinity and Neo, being like, Squid's going to be here. Squid is going to be here. You're afraid. You're looking up at the squid. Wow. And you're like, you have a folding chair for this? This is your the squid? Level of special effects we're doing here.
Right.
I mean, it was thrown together. They went to Australia because the budget could be reduced by so much because of how much stuff they wanted to do. The budget was $60 million. In Hollywood, they were getting quoted for $180 million for the stuff they wanted to do. So they had to go to Australia to film it because they wouldn't have been able to make it.
Damn.
And they would have had the suits probably breathing down their neck heavier in Hollywood.
I mean, we like that first scene, but we don't like not to 180 million.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, that shit is, it's insane. This movie is a miracle that it happened, basically. Like it broke all the rules. It was extremely unique. Everything worked out. It's a good one. I was going to say the commentary track. Carrie Ann Moss went silent for about an hour and a half. It was the special effects guy and the editor, and she was there for the. Did I say this before? She was there for like the beginning portion, and then she just went silent, literally for an hour and a half. And I was like, did she leave? Did she leave the room and not say anything? But then the scene in the lobby action scene.
All right, then you told us that.
Again.
Then she said that was cool. Like,
No, she said that was cool for the leg thing.
Oh, the leg. Yes.
At the end, she actually interrupted somebody for the leg thing, but she was quiet for an hour and a half. And then as soon as that lobby action scene started, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm back. I've been sitting here the entire time listening to these two strangers that worked in the behind the scenes thing talk for a while."
Fine.
That lobby action scene was one take. Everything was done in one take. All the damage was not reset because it would have been too time
only do it
consuming
once.
To do it.
and expensive. They actually had 2 sets of pillars made. And they talked about how the sets of pillars are sitting somewhere in storage right now because they didn't use the second set because of how hard it would have been to replace everything
or overlap whatever it was. Like,
So they shot it in a linear fashion, and everything you see is the only time it got destroyed.
Wow.
Basically.
Wow.
And Trinity, Carrie Ann Moss, talked about how she was afraid of the jump. That flip she does was like the hardest thing she had to do the entire movie. And there's footage of her practicing the day of that shoot in the morning, and she lands and twists her ankle as she lands. And like the look, I felt so bad for her, the look of panic on her face, because she's not even worried about being hurt. She just starts yelling, "Oh God, oh God, oh God," because she's worried she's not going to be able to do the stunt.
Rest. Yeah, right.
Right. Because like she knows that like all the shit is like, today is the day she's doing this big thing, and she lands wrong. And as soon as she lands wrong, she's just like, "Fuck, I ruined everything."
That
and you can
sucks.
like see it, and it's tough to watch. But they warmed her up. They had people like moving her foot and stuff, and by the afternoon, they had a couple takes to do it. But they were blowing the pillars up while they were doing it. So like when they were rolling, you can't do it 10 times. Like they planned on doing it once.
Right.
They ended up doing it twice. She didn't get it either time.
Oh no.
But what they planned on having that shot be one shot. And in my head, as I'm watching, I'm like, it was one shot, wasn't it? But it is her running up, and then it goes behind her, and then you see her landing. So it's 2 shots. And they wanted to do it with one shot, but they didn't get to do it.
Damn.
But still,
because she never actually could do it because it was too hard.
Enough.
It looks great.
You're not like, nice.
But that's the thing that the stunt choreographer, the cinematographer, and Carrie Ann Moss were just like, this is the one thing that I wish we had gotten, and we couldn't do it.
Damn.
But it looks great.
It still is a great. Yeah, it does. It's not like, oh man, it's clearly they faked that. It doesn't. It flows so well. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But again, this idea that here they are, the stunt coordinator, Carrie Ann Moss herself, they want to get it perfect. It's just kind of, again, this sense within this whole film, everybody that was working on it, for whatever reason, wants to just give it their all and make it the best thing ever. And that's just
to
really
be
cool.
fair, that's like, most movies.
Is that how it works on most movies?
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
No,
I think
it's
this
not.
Is just,
If the movie's got some sort of like, if you know it's good and the script's good and everything else, and you've got good actors, yes. If it's Lifetime
I guess so.
and you're filming a shitty story about people in a hospital bed, no one gives a shit, right?
I think it's
but it
just
depends, right? I think if you're in a union and you're working at the top level and you're working for these studios where you're making good movies,
then you're
people put in their all.
Yes.
I think they want the next gig.
Yeah.
Don't forget. It's all everything is contingent on how well you did last time.
Right.
Not how well you've done a year ago. So you always put in your best because they won't hire you again otherwise.
I think it just really stands out in this one. It really stands out in the behind the scenes in a way that it doesn't usually. And maybe it's because we're just getting to see more of it than we do with most other films.
I watched a lot of commentary tracks, and this one stood out by a lot too. I think it's a lot of factors. It's the momentum of like the shots they were getting, and the production was actually going well the entire time. The influx of money, not the studios not being like, stop fucking around and do a better job. We don't think this movie's going to do well. They're like, this is going to be
awesome,
groundbreaking.
Just keep doing
from
what
the
you're
beginning.
doing.
Yeah, and also like from the get-go, the script was amazing. Like people were on board with that. Like there's a lot of reasons why this kind of stands out. It's not just one thing.
But it's not to say, TC, like you're right that people aren't giving it their all in most films anyway.
But it's not everyone.
It's not everyone.
The difference is
it's definitely not everyone. I
there's always someone trying to like, you got friggin' Christian Bale and Tom Cruise as actors always like taking it super seriously, and good for them, and they shove people. But there's always people that slack or don't think it's important or whatever. All of the shots, like I would just highly recommend, if this doesn't come across, watch the best thing is the 2-hour-long documentary feature on it. It is amazing. Like how much of the stuff is real is just like absolutely amazing. Just them jumping at each other, catching each other, the shot of the helicopter, the bullets flying down. Like it shows you the storyboard of what they wanted, and it shows you exactly how they reproduce the storyboard and how awesome it looks. Like they just executed on what they wanted to do.
Right. Like, I remember it's another amazing scene, like the helicopter looking up at the rotor blades in slow motion with the bullet shells, with the casings that are coming down.
And the sound of the bullets whizzing by.
It's
so good.
It's cool.
There was one section where the special effects guy went off for 10 minutes on interpolation. He created a program. He talked about it for 10 minutes. I tried to understand what he was talking about. Didn't understand it one bit. It seemed very...
you have like frame A and frame B, right? But you have the space in between them, the time that... And you need to have something that like fills in the gap, right? You need to have something that smooths it, like interpolates between the two, right? So if that's what he was doing, so that it doesn't feel jarring when you go from frame A to frame B. And if he did something that's like...
He wrote a program... He wrote a program to do that, apparently. And that happens throughout the movie, apparently. Nice. I don't know. That's what he was talking about. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, these days, again, there's a lot of like high powered AI type stuff that they can throw at it, where you can like fill in the gaps. So, I mean, but it would be interesting to see how he was doing it at that time. But
I could give you the time, the minutes in the commentary. You could hop to it and see if it makes any sense to you. I'm sure it would make more sense to you than
I don't know.
It did to me.
But this idea of a smooth transition, that's what you want, right? That's all. Some way of, through processing, getting a smooth transition so it doesn't feel like you have these two distinct cuts.
And again, something you don't point at and you're like, that's what's happening here. It just helps you flow through the movie, right? It's like another thing.
It doesn't jar you. It doesn't like take you out of the experience. And this film, again, it's another common theme here, whether it's how everything blends in a vertical level with the soundtrack and the score plus the action plus the actors plus the script, it just blends really well. And so then that's the vertical, each vertical slice does, but then horizontally as the film moves, it's smooth. It's fucking smooth. You don't feel like there's any jarring or like, oh, this is a special effects shot, or even
that. Plus the transitions are outstanding. Like the beginning of the movie is like, it has the computer screen. It shows the Matrix. It has a computer screen. Right. You move through the numbers and then it becomes a circle, and then the circle becomes a flashlight, and then it bangs out, and then you're looking at Trinity through the flashlight. Nice. That whole thing is just like ridiculously
like, fuck you,
smooth.
Citizen Kane. I don't care about your stupid window. This is maybe there was some influence there, but nah, this is still way cooler.
Yeah. It's got to start somewhere, but this movie is going to be benchmark. It's got to be the benchmark still, I think, probably for 100 years, probably.
Who is the cinematographer and editor? Like, I don't know.
Bill Pope.
Yeah.
Remember Bill Pope?
No.
Bill Pope. That sounds familiar.
He got nominated recently, and when they said his name on the nominations, they said Bill Poop.
Oh, good
Bill
stuff.
Remember that? That was
Mr.
pretty funny. And he's like, "That's fine. I'm getting an Oscar here."
I enjoy my work.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff. He's a famous one. He's one of the good ones. All right. So some of the differences between the Matrix and the later ones is they had no extra money. They literally wouldn't fund whiteboards. People wanted to bring whiteboards and buy them on the budget, and they would say, "No, we can just write on napkins. We can just talk about it. We don't need a whiteboard. Fuck you."
Wow.
Oh, goddamn.
They didn't have coffee. They didn't have trailers.
What?
They had one bathroom
That's good.
on set on the first Matrix.
Goddamn.
This is how tight the budget was. They had all of the they built all the sets in a lot of it was done in like old abandoned places. The subway set was built in an old factory where they actually had train tracks to the factory. It was like a storage facility factory where they did so much in and out where they needed a train track to like come in, load up a train, push it out. So the train track was a part of what existed. And then they built the subway set around it, just in some abandoned old storage shed. So they did that a lot, but they had no money. And then in the documentary in the beginning, they started talking to people while they were starting to film the second and third ones. And they had this huge facility. They were all relaxing on comfortable looking things. They didn't look beat up or anything. Like it looked obvious that these other two movies are not going to be as good because you guys aren't struggling to make it.
Like
you guys
living on the bleeding edge, right?
experience.
You know, like just believing in the thing itself. Now everybody knows it's good.
It's about the money. It's going to be great because obviously it is. We can freaking coast through these next two movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
once you get the money.
Well, once you have success, it's really hard to get that edge, you know, to have that passion to be what's driving you, and you're already there. So that happens like in music and everything too.
Does.
You know, once
it does. Yeah,
for sure.
Don't we know it? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
People were worried about the Wachowskis getting a big budget movie, even though this was reduced for Australia. They went from a $5 million movie. Their first movie was Bound. That's what it was called.
Oh, Bound was good. Have you seen that?
You liked it? I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah,
Did you know it was them?
It's a lesbian thriller.
Yeah.
It was good. I liked it.
Did you know that was the Wachowskis?
No.
Yeah.
No.
That was their first movie. And then they went to The Matrix. So people were like worried. They're like, can you handle it?
Obviously,
I mean,
Bound was not like an action like this, you know, nothing was like this, but Bound was more of like a kind of a thriller drama. I don't think it was just more interesting and it was a very sexy movie. Who was in that?
Keanu Reeves.
No. Let's see. No, sorry. I'm actually going to do a little bit of poking here. It was Jennifer Tilly, Gina Gershon.
That sounds pretty good. I watched those two do stuff to each other.
Yeah, it was really good. I don't remember much of the details. I mean, even then, lesbian
just
film.
that it had some lesbian sex.
Lesbian film at the time was sort of like that was pretty.
You ever seen Blue is the Warmest Color? The movie's 3 hours long.
Yeah.
There's a sex scene in the middle. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Glad I didn't see that one in the theaters is all I could say. All right, we done talking about lesbian sex?
Yeah, I think so.
Tough ex-con Corky and her
Nope,
lover.
not quite yet.
I'm going to give you the synopsis. I won't read it as well as you do, Denny.
Oh, thanks, John. I'm a good reader. Is that what you're saying?
Here. So I try to give you a little, you know. So tough ex-con Corky and her lover Violet concoct a scheme to steal millions.
I cannot follow it. I can't follow it.
Stashed mob money and pin the blame on Violet's crooked boyfriend Caesar. God damn it, you guys suck.
You suck at reading, John. It's not our fault.
You suck at listening to my reading.
Your kids must be disappointed on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm just like, yeah, once upon a time.
Are you asleep yet?
You're asleep yet?
Shoving their head into the pillow.
And they lived happily something.
It's funny.
Keanu Reeves' mouth makeup was real. The closed mouth thing, that was real makeup. And then it was digitally removed for all the stretchy stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it was well
Pretty
done.
good.
Very creepy.
They actually shot the rooftop scene on a roof, unlike the movie The Room with Tom, what's his name, you know?
Tommy Wiseau. Yes.
Tommy Wiseau, you know, they CG'd the roof. They actually filmed it on the roof.
Wow.
Good trivia right there. Glad I left that one in there.
Authentic roofs. That's what we really like are for.
Mm-hmm. People just got minorly injured throughout the making of this movie.
You said that already.
Yeah, but I'm going to give you an example. A new example here, John. I'm setting up the example.
Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Derek, when they were done with the
just
Kung
a little
Fu
salty.
Just a little mad because I made fun of your parenting.
Parenting, reading.
Just
it
directly
hurts
attacks
a little.
the quality of your parenting. Yeah,
it does.
So
what I will do
Is he wrong though? Is the question.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Can you criticize if the person is
Yeah,
true?
if it's true, no, just kidding, John.
Yeah.
But they didn't even
But
mention
I
it.
still
Hugo
want to
Weaving
interrupt
at
you.
the end,
That's
fine. Hugo Weaving at the end of the Kung Fu thing was just in crutches, and they didn't talk about it.
What's that?
They were taking like a goodbye dojo practice thing, and Hugo Weaving was just in crutches smiling for this
shit, really?
creep shot. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Carrie Ann Moss, after the first day, woke up, second morning after the first day, woke up with neck problems. She didn't think she could work. So she ended up like crying, being like, I'm going to fuck up this movie. This was a big step for her in her career, and she felt the pressure of it. Yeah. And they got like a masseuse in there. They like massaged her neck, put her in warm water and stuff, fixed her up. But
yeah,
people were getting stiff. There was a lot of physical shit going on in this movie.
Was superstar at this point, right? Wasn't he? Right or no? Where did he come
Speed.
off of?
Yeah,
right.
Point Break and Speed had already come out.
Right. So
he was very popular.
So it kind of makes sense for Carrie Ann Moss. Like here she is, playing opposite of Keanu, and yeah, she's gonna blow it because she's like injured.
Yeah.
Wow.
Sucks. That's a shitty feeling. And thank God it didn't end up that way.
Yeah.
They almost killed a guy. In a scene that you wouldn't think, in a shot that you wouldn't think that someone would have died in. The scene where Agent Smith punches Neo into the newsstand in the subway scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was a stunt guy, and they had this all the shots where they had someone getting punched backwards really fast. It was a hydronic air pump thing that they harnessed the guy in on the chest, and the pump would pull them back really fast. It was like dangerous, kind of like it would give you whiplash or whatever. Jesus. And they pulled him back into the newsstand, and the guy wasn't moving. They thought he was dead.
Oh
shit!
They're like,
that's crazy.
He came to, and he went to the hospital and stuff. They didn't mention brain damage or anything like that, but they said no major injuries across, like as a blanket statement. So I'd feel like brain damage would be a major injury.
Yeah,
so
that would seem right.
I think the guy was fine.
Concussion might be a gray area. Maybe they're like,
maybe concussions are fine. You can have like 5 of those.
That's right. Football players get them all the time.
Or no, not another teen movie. You can have like 10 concussions.
Shit, I don't know.
I think, but no, it was scary to watch them. Like there was a couple times in the making of where somebody would get hurt and reality would like rush in to be like, what are we even doing here? Like this, we're throwing people around. We're on wires. Like humans are breakable. We're gonna fucking snap somebody's neck doing this shit. But they didn't. Good for them.
Thank God for that.
350 air-controlled nozzles under the flooded office set, synchronized to controls and programmed to make it look like machine gun fire was firing at people. Filmed in slow motion.
That's awesome.
So cool.
Right.
They had 150 what they called pea shooters. So like they had Keanu with the minigun in the helicopter. The minigun was spinning. It looks like the minigun's firing at the helicopter things, but off camera, they had 150 synchronized pea shooters shooting little BBs at the glass to break the very weak sand-based glass. So like around it. So like they had that synchronized too. So they had the shit in the water synchronized. They had the pea shooters synchronized. They had the fake minigun going. Jesus. They had all of the agents in the water. They had Keanu in the helicopter all at the same time.
That's crazy. Talk about coordination too.
Seriously,
really cool.
And they were filming in slow motion. Some of the cameras, they had multiple cameras for that too. Like absolutely bananas.
Which is crazy too to think, right? Because like you're sitting there and you're like, did that work? You're like, I don't know. Did it? It went by so fast. We're gonna have to go to
I think it did. Everything else has been working.
Let's go to the camera and check it out. And then slow mo, and you're like, yeah. But like in real time, you probably didn't notice anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty crazy. It's all theory until you look back at the video.
But then you look at it and you're like, well, it works. The theory works. Let's keep doing it. The scene at the end where Carrie Ann is leaning over Neo, waiting to get him out of there when they were like, the squids are coming in and all that stuff. In the behind the scenes, you can see her pull, like the direction is for her to pull the back of the neck thing, the head thing out of him as she leans over him. I didn't pick up on that watching the movie.
No.
Did you guys pick up on that?
No.
I'm not sure they captured
wouldn't that kill him? I'm confused.
Well, no, it's supposed to be synced up. They're supposed to blast the squid, and they're supposed to like pull him out.
Pull it out so that the
because
EMP
he's
doesn't
supposed to
kill
pick
him.
up the phone because they're about to die, and it's the last second they have, and she's just willing to bet that he's at the phone coming out right when she pulls it out because there's no time left.
Right.
But I didn't get that because like it does it so quick and then it fades to white. Like it's just kind of that part isn't clear, but it was interesting to see from the behind the scenes camera that saw everything on the set that like part of the direction was for her to pull the thing out of the back of his head. Yeah.
I mean, it's so crazy how little. How, like,
so I think the idea is if they do the EMP pulse while he's plugged in, he's dead too.
Right. She's just like, we're going to get killed in the next half a second. He's either at the phone or he's not. I need to pull this thing out. And he just happens to be picking up the phone at that second, I guess. Let's see. The last day of the shoot was when Neo got thrown off the slip and slide into the pool of gross body water and then craned up through the hole. And they said that they were basically done. They were so tired from the shoot that they were just like, nobody like cared anymore, which is weird because like they switched their tone for that day. Like they had a party afterwards and everyone was just like, thank fucking God we're done.
Well, everybody was like
oh my God, that was brutal.
All. Yeah. Like day after day, everybody was giving it everything they had. And at some point, you got to get worn out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it went like 30 days over. Already like a long ass shoot. 118 days. That's a lot.
Still real.
You're doing kung fu all the time.
Yeah.
I'm impressed that people don't look sweaty. You do take after take doing kung fu every day. You're not dripping sweat.
It must have been pretty,
like I saw them like dabbing them with towels and stuff, but if it was me or anybody I know, you dab the towel, sweat's coming right out again. Yeah. It's coming out immediately afterwards.
Well, are they on set?
They're on set.
I mean, the lights get hot too. I don't know.
Lights get hot.
Pump
you're
the
jumping
AC
around
inside the set down real low, I guess.
Maybe they made
to
it chilly
offset it. Yeah. But still, even that isn't going to be perfect. The lights are hot.
Yeah. Maybe the makeup stops it a little bit. Plug up the pores or whatever.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Man, I don't know.
Let's see here. So just a taste of, they didn't really give too much more of this, but they said for the pod closing sound, it was 45 different sounds mixed together.
Wow.
Just the pod going shoomp.
Wow.
45 different sounds.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. I wish they had gone on like Star Wars and just talked about every single sound in the movie and tell you exactly what it was.
Might have had our Star Wars sound guy to be there all excited about. Yeah.
But the sound guys sound like they were, they won an Oscar. It's pretty freaking, it's good all the way through. You wouldn't guess that sound was 45 things, but it was. They said toilet sounds and a plunger are two of the sounds of the 45. It was very vague. I wish it was more specific, but still, it's a lot of sounds.
It is.
Well, the Wachowskis were asked what they thought the movie was about, and they said, it's about robots versus kung fu. And the guy shrugged and walked away.
Nice.
For that, the bullet time thing, it was 120 still cameras synchronized around in a circle. We're getting really close to the end here. The injury that Keanu had was a 2-level fusion of his cervical spine. And they had to go in and try to fix it somehow, and he had to recover. Sounds like a bad one. Apparently, if you have that, you slowly go paralyzed. So like he was going to be paralyzed if surgery didn't exist.
Damn, dude.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
And the last piece of trivia that I was holding out for is who the original cast was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith famously turned down the role of Neo to go star in Wild Wild West.
Wow. Which for him was the right call, really.
No, it wasn't. That movie ruined his career for a while.
That movie
I think it might have ruined his career forever. It was a huge budget movie, and it did really bad.
Yeah.
He got paid, but at the same time, he couldn't make a bad movie and make money anymore. You can't bank on him anymore with $150 million. You might lose money.
That's true.
It wasn't the case before that movie.
I hadn't thought about it like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it stopped his career still. I'm pretty sure it kind of ruined his career forever.
Wow.
And that movie was terrible.
It was so
I don't know why.
It was so bad.
Yeah. It was so bad. But he, even though like people, they know that and they ask him like, do you regret it? And he's like, no, I don't think I would have been good in it.
No, I don't think he would.
Keanu Reeves did a fantastic job. Like the movie is great. Like I have no regrets.
Good for you, Will, at least there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll slap someone on stage soon, so don't
slap
you
the
worry.
shit out of Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Keep my
Don't you
fucking
worry.
wife's name
I'll
out of your
be slapping
fucking
someone
mouth.
else soon to get back at the
I
industry.
just didn't.
Yeah.
That was the weirdest thing. And then he won an Oscar. That was the weirdest Oscars.
Oh man, that was.
And the movie he won it for was not that good.
Yeah.
So he was the go-to for Neo. The Wachowskis wanted Johnny Depp for Morpheus.
Damn.
And Warner Brothers wanted Val Kilmer. Who I think that would have been pretty good too.
Val Kilmer,
I can kind of see Val Kilmer doing that.
Val Kilmer in his prime would have handled that well. He would have been cool.
I think his Doc Holliday could have transitioned pretty well. Into this movie.
think he would have done it. I think he would have done it justice. I don't know. There's the.
It wouldn't have been as good as Lawrence Fishburne, obviously.
No. There's a.
I can see it.
Larry Fitchburg.
Johnny Depp though. I couldn't see Johnny Depp.
No.
Nah.
No.
I don't want to sound mean, but I think he's too small. I feel like Morpheus' size is kind of important for his character.
Maybe, but Johnny, Depp has depth. He could maybe do some.
Depp has depth.
Yep.
All right.
Depth has depth.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. And then Sandra Bullock is Trinity. That was their first choice.
No thanks.
She's just too girl next door.
I think she would have been good. No, she proved in Gravity even much later that she could do some physical stuff.
She was good in Gravity. I just don't know. I guess in retrospect, it's just hard to retcon it. Right? It's just she's still.
I'm glad it was somebody that I hadn't seen before.
Right. But Sandra Bullock, no matter even in Gravity, she's just friendly. There's a friendliness about Sandra Bullock that I don't know if it were to work as well. Trinity just seems like she's so like rough around the edges, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And it works really well.
Again. And yeah.
And thanks for all the info, Denny.
You're welcome. And so next week, it's going to be easier for me because I think we're going to take a break. So the next movie on the list, not a break, but like a bonus movie thing.
Okay.
Goodfellas is the next movie on the list. John's favorite director.
I always wanted to be a good fella.
His highest rated movie. So I'm sure John's going to have a lot of really good things to say about it.
The last gasp of Scorsese here. We want no more Scorsese after this shit.
Don't
tempt him.
He might
listening to this. You're making him continue to make movies.
I really don't. I don't understand.
I really think I have perspective on Native Americans that I need to share with the world.
Okay, I like when the camera moves.
No, after the right, fine, it moves. You got camera A, you got B, and moves over here from A to B. No,
any movie is good if you have $200 million.
Yeah. Well, after the last Scorsese film we watched, I don't know if we're going to want to do another one, even if he comes up with another one. So.
I'm off the train.
Yeah.
I'm not interested.
No thanks.
Me neither. So this might be our last Scorsese film. I still think I don't know if another thing to throw out there, even if it isn't the best film out there reviewed, it's certainly grossing a lot of money, and we've
Deadpool,
seen the
Wolverine.
other two.
I wouldn't mind seeing that.
We could. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do that one. I would love to see that one. Yeah, let's go to the movies.
Yeah,
let's fucking do it.
All right, cool.
All right, there we go.
Deadpool, Wolverine. Let's do
Good
this.
idea, John.
Great idea, John. All right, good night.
Good night.
See you later, boys.
See you guys.
Bye.